Cześć everyone! So that sounded a little bit harder than I predicted it to be because Polish has a lot of sounds that English does not, nor does Spanish, French, etc. Maybe not a lot of sounds, but sounds that reoccur often that I can't always say right away. But it's been a great time so far with 1 week into learning Polish. I know that's not a whole lot of time yet, but by the time you see this, it'll be closer to 2 weeks of studying for me, but I wanted to show you my progress in just 1 week. So, as you can see from the footage, I've gotten past clothes. The last place I stopped was somewhere where they listed some verbs and had different conjugations and stuff. So I've learned clothes, I've learned animals, I've learned food, I've learned possessive words, so I could say my dog, your dog, his dog, stuff like that. And I've learned how to say things like I speak English, I speak Polish, which I don't want to be saying that just yet because I don't speak a whole lot, but I can ask if you can speak English, which is super important. So I'm not sure how far I'm going to get during this challenge, but I wanted to share with you my progress so far. So what I've noticed is different patterns. Now I've only been using Duolingo for those of you who are just tuning in right now and haven't seen my first video, which I will link. I will make a playlist of this so that it's easier to get to all of them. I also posted in the Duolingo forum for people who are interested in joining because I think I'll be doing updates with those who are joining me through there, unless you make a YouTube video, but of course be sure to tell me because I would love to know. And maybe we could even make a Facebook group depending on what you guys want if you are participating. But it would be super excited to have people do this with me. But anyway, as I was saying, I've noticed some patterns in different words, in pronunciation, especially in verbs. So what I did in my notebook, which you will see, I have this tiny notebook that I've been doing my notes in. You could hear some mowing in the background. Unfortunately, I can't get away from that this season. Every time I go to make a video, there is somebody mowing. Everyone is mowing all the time. Anyway, I keep all my notes in this little notebook that is shared with a bunch of other things that I had written in here prior to doing my Polish notes. So it's a little bit messy, and I'll be finishing this notebook soon, but I kind of like to finish things before I start something new. So you'll probably be seeing a notebook, a different one, in the future. But what I do is I write down vocabulary that I learned from all of the lessons, as well as some sentences that I tried to put together. But as I've been going on in my lessons, I've been writing down sentences that Duolingo has itself, because I've noticed that the words change when they're used in different contexts. I'm assuming that's the cases that everyone talks about, the dreaded cases that don't really exist in English, or they're so minimal that they hardly exist. And I haven't looked up about these cases, I haven't asked for help, and I haven't found a pattern yet, because I'm only using Duolingo, so I'm trying to use what knowledge I have of languages, language learning, and the other languages that I know. And so I've noticed sometimes a word will end in an E, but if it's in a different context, it'll end in an A, sometimes it'll end in a Y. And I don't really know how to conjugate these words yet, so I'm still working on that, but instead of writing my own sentences, I have been using Duolingo's. I don't know if that would be the case if you studied a different language on Duolingo, if you could pick up those kinds of patterns, which I believe you could if you were learning a language like Spanish. So, verbs, I've had an easier time picking up a pattern. I've made verb charts because I'm very used to that from high school. We had to do T tables all the time, which we would draw a T on our paper, and then we would write out the verb and its conjugation. So we would write yo soy, tú eres, él, ella es, nosotros somos, etc., etc. But we would go through each line of the T. We'd have 3 on each side, and we would have the verb on the top, like to be, and that's how we would do it. So to organize myself, since I am a creature of habit, I did these T tables in my notebook so you can see them, and you can see that there's a pattern between all of these in these verbs. and that I fill in as I go. So if there was one that did not appear in a sentence, such as we all drink or something like that, or they drink, then it's not there because I could probably take a guess based on the patterns of the other ones that I've seen, like all the plural they blah blah blah, and with like an A but a nasally A, because I noticed that when you have that mark at the bottom of the A and the E, then it makes a nasally sound, at least from what I've noticed, but not sure how true that is. It's what I've noticed from the robotic voice on Duolingo. I've also noticed other patterns in pronunciation, such as a Y is pronounced like so when you have a word like t, which is you, it's ty, but it's not t, which can be confusing at first because when I see it, I want to pronounce it as t or tie. I don't know, maybe not like tie. But if I see something like, what's another word with a Y at the end? Let me look through my notes. Dzień dobry. It's not dzień dobry, it's dzień dobry. And so it's something I have to accustom myself to. I've also noticed in that same phrase, for instance, when you have a DZ together at the beginning of a word or before certain letters, because it can change in pronunciation, but I noticed that it's a j sound. It's not dz. It's not Jean, no, it's not Dzine, it's Jean. So it is pronounced like a J sound. I've noticed that when you have an accent on an S, it's sh and not s. So I've picked up on things like that. I've also noticed some similarities with Russian, which I have heard before, that Russian and Polish can share some words. Now, I'm not sure how close they actually are, but for instance, the word nie, which is no in Polish, and niet in Russian, they are very similar. And I know it could be very small things, so I'm not going to go and say, oh my gosh, they're so similar, but I do notice some similarities between the two. So what can I say so far? I'm not going to go through every sentence because what is important is you have to determine what's important in Duolingo and what you want to get out of it. So yes, I write every vocab word down, and I'll write sample sentences down that they have to see how these words are used because of the different cases and the changes in the words and everything. But I'm not necessarily going to be saying the big dog ate the small animal or something like that. That's not something I normally talk about, maybe if I'm watching a documentary sometime. But I'm going to be saying things like, hi, I'm Angela, I am American, which I haven't learned how to say that yet. Maybe if I want to talk about what I ate at a restaurant for dinner, I can talk about that because I have some vocab on that. So here are some examples of things I can say so far. So this isn't everything because some of it isn't really relevant to what I'll be saying, but I still practice it every day anyway. I go through, make sure my tree is golden, I look over my notebook itself and everything. But here's an example of what I could say. Cześć, jestem Angela, jestem kobieta. Mówię po angielsku. Mówisz po polsku? Mówisz po angielsku? Yeah, so that's pretty relevant. Oh, I guess I could say that I ate, well, I can't say it in the past tense. I could say I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Jem śniadanie, obiad i kolację. Lubię koty i psy. Lubię koty i psy. That's, oh my gosh, psy. See, that's what I mean with the Y at the end. You won't see it written down that way because I'm only putting English subtitles, but it can be confusing. Like, I see it written out in my head and I want to say it that way, but I'm trying to, when I read these words on the app, I try to repeat them. So that's about my progress in my 1 week. I'm looking forward to learning even more and finding these patterns and hopefully being able to speak a little bit better and pronounce things a little bit better. Now, after this 90-day challenge, I do plan on further studying, but we'll see, how that goes and stuff, if I'm free enough to do so, because I'm also studying Korean, as you guys know. And so we'll see what other resources I can use and ask people questions about these words and stuff, because maybe I won't be able to find a pattern and it's just how it is, because sometimes people will give you that answer. So that's my progress. Hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it if you're learning Polish, or even if you're not, just interested in Duolingo and how it works and everything. And I hope that you will join me in this challenge. It's not too late. People just started yesterday. Well, I guess for you guys it wouldn't be yesterday. It would be about a week ago when I posted. So you would be a week behind, and you would be 2 weeks behind me. But you can join, because I would love to know how it works out for you. Please don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this. I won't be posting weekly updates, but there will be updates every once in a while. So subscribe for that and more language content. Share with your friends. And make sure to like the video and leave a comment. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!